Hello, my name is John Maloney and welcome to Blindfold Communications, where blind plus mindful equals blindfold communications. This channel's for everyone. So welcome to my video on basically giving the definition of mindfulness, as well as talking about some facts and myths around mindfulness. But before we get started, again, remember to share this video and my channel with your friends. And if you need any individual coaching, group coaching, I do workshops as well on various topics such as mindfulness, conflict management, communication skills, etc. You can visit my website. The easiest way to remember it is blindjohnny.com. So blindjohnny.com. And I will put that in my description. My email address is john@blindjohnny.com. And also, if you can contribute to my GoFundMe campaign, as I'm right now living month to month until I find a more permanent job. So any kind of donations would be very much welcome, as it'll help pay my monthly bills and hopefully stop me from, having to leave my house and potentially experience homelessness. So anyways, with that being said, first off, I want to do let me readjust myself, some breathing exercises to start out with. And there's two types of breathing I want to talk about. One type of breathing is called chest breathing, which is what we tend to do when we're stressed out, when we're gasping for air, stuff like that. You're just like, you're inhaling in your chest, in your upper chest, and you're not really getting a lot of, meaningful breathing from that. I mean, what you want to try to do is what's called belly breathing. And what that is you're actually using your diaphragm to breathe. And when you use your diaphragm, you're actually inhaling air into your lungs. Now, when you do it, it's called belly breathing because you can feel your belly expand and compress. Expand and compress. But actually, it's just meaning that your lungs are filling up with air more fully, and you're not really getting air into your belly. So let's do this for a little while. We can continue with the box breathing that we talked about in the last session. So that is, again, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Again, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Holy smokes, that's hard to say. Anyway, so let's get started. So in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Ooh, excuse me. Let's do that. I'm going to stay silent. I'll just do the singing bowl for a little bit, and I'll let us do this in silence for a little bit. Okay, so that's the belly breathing for today. Now let's talk about mindfulness. So really what mindfulness is, you're really focusing on the present, and you're open, you're curious, and you're not passing any judgment. So you're non-judgmental, or what my former instructor liked to call, when I was doing a Coaching for Leaders course in my master's program, he called it being judgment aware. And what judgment aware is that, we all recognize we have bias. We all recognize that we make judgments. And it's okay to make judgments. And in some situations, you need to make judgments, especially when you're in a flight or fight mode, when there's danger around, there's things happening, maybe there's an emergency situation. Judgments are very important. But then there are times where judgments actually get in the way of our conversations. Judgments get in the way of what I like to call self-compassion. So feeling compassionate for yourself or compassionate to other people. Judgments will get in the way of you empathizing with people. So really just understand that there are times where judgments are good and times where judgments are not so good. So sometimes you have to let the judgments, as I say, fly away for a little bit, and then revisit those judgments at a time where you have time to think them through a little bit. Also, when you're mindful, you're really focusing on your present thoughts, your present feelings, your present body sensations, as well as the environment that's around you. And when you're focusing on the environment that's around you, you're not focusing on what you want it to be. You're focusing on what the environment is. Again, without judgment, being open, and being curious. So let's get into some facts about mindfulness. So mindfulness is scientifically proven to reduce stress, increase focus, and increase emotional regulation. What emotional regulation is when you're stressed, when you're afraid, when you're feeling those anxious emotions. Practicing mindfulness can actually reduce that stress and increase your focus. So even a couple of deep breaths, if you're having a stressful conversation, even saying, look, I need to pause for a second, and maybe just taking a couple of deep breaths, or even being silent within a conversation is also very helpful sometimes in focusing in on the present, especially when emotions are running high. I know myself, sometimes I tend to react versus respond, but when I'm mindful, I am definitely responding versus reacting. So mindfulness is accessible to everyone, regardless of your background, regardless, you don't need technology, you don't even need a singing bowl. You can do it in the silence of your own home, in the silence at your desk. So yeah, it is accessible to everybody, regardless of age, race, religion, etc., etc., etc. So the next one is mindfulness increases brain function, especially in the areas of memory, compassion, and attention. So again, when you practice mindfulness, you're able, again, like we said, you're able to focus more. You're able to, also connect more with people. So it really does increase. There's I was studying the brain, and I think it's called, I don't remember the part of the brain that regulates emotion and things like that, but it really helps that part of the brain that regulates emotion and judgment. So mindfulness also has some positive physical effects. It has been shown to decrease blood pressure, improve sleep, and even boost the immune system. So again, when your body's calm, when your body is in sync, again, I know when I do mindfulness before I go to sleep, I tend to have a better sleep when I do mindfulness activities or meditation. Also, again, when I'm feeling sick and when I'm feeling blah, just sometimes sitting there in a moment, just breathing and just paying attention to my body, just understanding the needs of my body, whether it's food, whether it's sleep, whether it's a boost of vitamin C, just being in touch with your body will allow you to meet its needs. So mindfulness can be practiced anytime, whether you're eating, whether you're going for a walk, whether you're sitting at your desk. For example, I'm going to do a mindful stretch right now. And just really pay attention to the stress and tension in the body, and just stretch out to the sky. I can even feel some bones crack. Wow. Yeah, and then just relaxing, like it just feels so good. So just again, remember that mindfulness can be practiced anywhere. So now let's talk about some myths about mindfulness. So the first myth about mindfulness is that mindfulness is about clearing your mind, and that's not true. It's actually about focusing in on those thoughts that you want to focus on, and yes, letting the other thoughts you don't want to focus on, just letting them go away for a little while, coming back. So again, it's not about clearing your mind. It's actually about putting your mind into focus, into the present moment. Another myth is that you got to sit still for hours, which again is not true. In fact, I find it hard to sit still for hours. In fact, I'm doing some somatic stuff right now. My legs tend to move when I'm sitting down, so which is okay. I'm mindful of that. So again, I'm not even sitting still. Again, mindfulness, You can go on walks. You can go on a mindful walk. Again, mindful eating. You're not sitting still. So mindfulness is really about getting in touch with your body. And if that's moving around, that's moving around. If it's deep breathing, it's deep breathing, whatever works for you in the moment. So another myth is that mindfulness is a religious practice. And although it does have its foundations in Buddhism, mindfulness is practiced everywhere. It's practiced in the education system. People who are neurodivergent use mindfulness. It's practiced in healthcare. It's practiced in business, in leadership, and other industries as well. Because again, when you're present, when you're focused, you're going to become a higher performing person, whether that's personally or professionally. Another myth is that mindfulness is always relaxing, and that's not always the case. Sometimes when you're mindful and you're focusing, on thoughts or feelings, sometimes they're going to be distressing. Sometimes it might create a bit of anxiety and a bit of stress for you. But mindfulness is really about just being in a particular emotion for a while and just exploring that emotion, seeing how it impacts your body, seeing how it impacts your thoughts, your behaviors. Really, mindfulness is actually a very healing practice, because when you can experience those emotions and explore those emotions in a safe context, that promotes healing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like I tell people, if you're running from your emotions, it's like you're running downhill in the winter and you're being chased by a snowball. And as you're going downhill, the snowball is going to follow you, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like emotions. The more you run from emotions, they're going to eventually catch up to you. But sometimes they just get so big, they're hard to deal with. So if you can deal with your emotions in small bites, it's a lot easier on you in all different areas of your life. The last myth I want to talk about is you're doing it wrong if your mind wanders. Actually, you're not doing it wrong. Everybody's mind wanders. Oh, my mind wanders so much. It's like, there's probably jogging through my mind as we speak right now. So my mind wanders, everybody's mind wanders, but it's about refocusing it on the here and now. It's about, say you're going from one meeting to another. It's about focusing on the current meeting and not focusing on the past meeting or the meeting that's coming next. So again, if your mind wanders, don't judge yourself. Because again, judging yourself, you're going to start beating yourself up, feeling guilty, negative emotions happen because you judge yourself, etc., etc. I'm not saying it's never wrong to judge yourself, but in this area, don't judge yourself if your mind wanders. So that's all I have to share today. Hopefully this video is going to turn out. I'm going to run it through the Chopper app and see what blanks it cuts out and what it doesn't. So but in the meantime, again, if you can share this video with other people who might be interested. Again, like I said, if you're interested in individual coaching or group coaching or workshops, I love doing workshops as well on many different areas. I'm going to leave my email and my website in the description, as well as I'm going to leave my GoFundMe link in the description for this video. And if you can donate to me, I'd really appreciate it. But again, I understand different people have different financial situations. And so that being said, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And remember, blind plus mindful equals blindful communication. This channel's for everyone.